Well, it's going to be difficult, but we approach every draft pretty much the same. We're going to evaluate, every player that we possibly can get our eyes on. We're going to build the board just exactly the same way that we always have. And look, I always felt like the strength of mine is kind of that late round, get those late round guys. And when our board gets picked apart and there's a couple of guys still on the board, you feel a strong conviction to draft those players. So we're going to build it the same way. And hope for some good players at the back of the draft.
What are some strengths of this draft, you feel like, as far as positions?
Well, look, I think there's some really good. I think it's a strong defensive draft. Look, there's some really good offensive players too. So I think the strength of the draft is the depth of the draft. Similar to 2 years ago, the 16 draft, 17 draft was so deep, similar.
Has it all become a little bit easier with some of the acquisitions you guys have made in free agency? Just, you might not have to specifically plug the hole, but kind of that's the best guy.
Really, that's the overriding philosophy of free agency versus the draft is to, the free agency is to fill some of the needs that you have. The draft is to hopefully just pick, don't reach, draft good players that fit our system. So that's what we're trying to do.
So, when you look at the success that you've had since you've been here, what do you attribute that to? And how much is preparation figure into it, and how much is just luck that things work out for you?
Well, look, Parcells always told me, the draft is a 50-50 proposition, but I do think preparation, hard work, a consistent philosophy that the coaches, the scouts, Mickey and Sean, certainly, we all believe in, and we all do a great job of just understanding what we're trying to get accomplished in the process. And having a consistent process since I've been here has been key. I think that's what's led to success.
Jeff, what are you gaining from days like this? Is this essentially an extension from the Senior Bowl and Combine?
Well, it's a different exposure. I always tell our scouts, get around the kid, get around the player that we're evaluating as many times as you can, because it's like it's like you guys getting to know me. The more times you're around me, the better you're gonna know me. It's the same way with the player. The more times you're around him, the better exposure you have the player, the more conviction we're gonna have on the player when we come to drafting. So this is another exposure. It gives us a live opportunity to evaluate how he moves, what he's like when you talk to him. We get him up in the film room. How well does he understand football? Put him in a position that challenged him a little bit, and how does he respond to that? So this is a great exposure to us.